Yo guys, what's up? And welcome back to another YouTube video on my channel, The Mask. And welcome back onto another F1 2020 driver tier list. I drastically messed up for it on my last video. I got a bit of hate for it. I have to apologise. I completely forgot to tell you what that tier list was about and what I was basing it on. I was basing it on their entire career so far. But the title was kind of misleading. So this is my proper version of F1 2020 drivers tier list. So I'm just basing it off this year and not like their past achievements, which is what I did for Sebastian Vettel last tier list. So let's get into it. Obviously, let's start with the easy one. Lewis Hamilton, legendary. Obviously, just there's no doubting that he's been legendary this season. Broken loads of records. He's matched Michael Schumacher's world championship record. He's just nuts. And then I'll go on to Sebastian Vettel now. We're going to put it in bad. Sebastian Vettel, this has been a season to forget. Why are you racing in Formula 1 is a really harsh category. So I'm not going to put him in there because it literally means it literally just means you shouldn't be in there. And Seb does deserve to be in Formula 1, obviously, but he's just had a terrible season. Okay, let's go on to Pierre Gasly. I'm going to put it in good. He's been very consistent, constantly outdriving that AlphaTauri, and it's just been a great season for him. Obviously his win in Monza, but I'm trying to base it off his whole entire season and not just off that win. So let's go ahead and do Alex Albon. I'm going to put him in meh, because he's had moments this season where he's shone and where he can show that he's fast and stuff, but he's just way too inconsistent. And he got those 2 podiums, but he's just way too inconsistent. And even when he did get a podium, he was still 40 seconds off Max Verstappen, and that's nuts. And the only reason he got the second podium is because Perez retired. So for that reason, it's a very mess season for him, and he lost his Red Bull seat, so it could potentially even be there. But yeah, Bottas, I'm going to put good. That's Russell. Bottas, we're going to put good. He seemed to be able to challenge Lewis at the start, but then Lewis just got a hang of it and he just went, really. He just disappeared off into the distance, and Valtteri Bottas couldn't keep up with him. So yeah, I feel like Bottas, to be honest with me, if they didn't sign his contract so early on in the season, he wouldn't have even been in that seat if they were signing it now, because it's just not gone well for him. Like, he was fighting with Max Verstappen, who Mercedes have a hugely better car than Red Bull. He was fighting Max Verstappen second in the championship. So yeah, it's just been a messy, good season for Bottas. Max Verstappen, I'm going to do amazing season because he's constantly been on Mercedes. He's never let them get out of his sight, and he's just really made them feel uncomfortable, and he's always capitalized when Mercedes have made failures. And although he has made his mistakes, his stupid mistakes, like in Turkey and stuff, it still doesn't stray away from his amazing season that he's had, and his 2 wins as well. So he's done a top job this season, but still just off that second in the championship, but he'll get there soon. Let's go on to George Russell next. I'm going to put it in I don't know. I'm going to just place it in good whilst I explain, and then I'll see where I put it. So for George Russell, he has constantly outperformed that car, like, all the time in qualifying. In the race day, he needs to work on it. I think. Like, although when he had that Mercedes chance, he really proved he can be quite good on race day and stuff. Just in the Williams, like, you never really hear about George Russell on race day or something like that. It's always Mr. Saturday, and just there's never really a Sunday for him. Like, he still hasn't got a point with Williams yet, although he does have points in Formula One because of his race with Mercedes. With Williams, he still does not have a point. So yeah, but he is amazing at qualifying, and I feel like he's really done well. So let's go ahead and do Danny Rick. Now, Daniel Ricciardo is my all-time favorite driver in Formula One, and I know that sounds absolutely nuts, and I know it does, but I just love the guy so much. His personality, his driving style, his just do or die attitude, his YOLO attitude. It's just, I love him so much, and I think he deserves so much more. I know it sounds ridiculous, but I really do think he's an amazing guy. But for this season, I'm gonna put it in. I'm gonna put it in. See, for legendary, you have to do something that either rewrites history books, or you've just really done a madness this season. And for amazing, you've got to be really consistent. You know what? Nah, Danny Rick gets to go in amazing. He's been so consistent this season. He's been so good. He's got multiple podiums. He's just always been there, like, getting them points. And although his teammate Esteban Ocon has been disappointing, he's been there to pick up the pieces. Let's go ahead and move on to his teammate Esteban Ocon. Now, Esteban Ocon, I'm going to put it in a bad season. He just hasn't really shown his previous speed that he had in the Force India in 2018. I don't know what happened to it. He just hasn't really shown that speed again. And although he did get that podium in the Sakhir Grand Prix, I just feel like as an overall season, he just really has not shown what he can do. And I know Esteban Ocon is fast because we've seen it time and time again, but he just needs to, like, be consistent, and he just needs to improve. I think he just has not really done well this season. Lando Norris, we're going to put it in good. He's been really good this season. He's got that podium, obviously, but he's also been amazing in qualifying, and he's just really been good on race day to try and just get the best result he can. And I just think he's been a really solid, good driver. Antonio Giovinazzi, I'm going to put it in a meh, because you always notice him on the start of the race, but then you just don't really notice him other times. Like, it's just been a very mess season. I feel like he's kind of matched Kimi Raikkonen, which is always a good thing because he is the most experienced person in the whole of Formula One, in the history of Formula One. So to match him, like, that says a lot. So yeah, it's not been a good season for many reasons, but it could also be something to do with the car as well. But I just think it's very mess season. Now, I'm sorry, but just for the fact that he had that huge crash and that he survived it, and that will probably go down in history as one of the biggest crashes in recent times, I'm putting it in legendary. I know it seems shambles, but just for the fact he had that crash, he survived, and he's still good living, and he's just okay, I'm having to put him in legendary. I saw However do this, and he put him in legendary for the exact same reason. But yeah, it's got to be there. K-Mag. I'm gonna put it in. I'm gonna put it in bad. He just has not performed that well this season. Has constantly been in the top 5, which I know is not his problem exactly, but again, he's just not really had that fighting spirit that I've seen in him in the previous years. Like in 2018 and 19, I could see that he wanted to do better and all of that, but this year he just seemed kind of laid back. If we're doing it on performance for Romain Grosjean, then I'd put it in a meh, but just because of that crash, it has to be there. But anyway, getting back to K-Mag, I just wanted to say that about Grosjean before people start commenting and stuff. So for K-Mag, yeah, it's a bad season. I think it's one to forget, really. Yeah. For Kimi Räikkönen, I'm going to put it in a mess season. He's kind of like just been the same as Antonio Giovinazzi this season. Tried to do as well as he can in that Alpha, but also, actually not, no. We'll bump him up to good because he has tried and he has done better than Giovinazzi. And although Giovinazzi has matched him in qualifying, and sometimes in the race, I feel like Kimi's just been that little bit better. So for that reason, yeah. For Daniel Kvyat, we're going to put it in meh because he started to bring results in and perform way too late into the season. Like, although in Imola he had a banging race, he just hasn't really been there to show up and capitalize when Pierre Gasly has either made a mistake, and it's just been very much Pierre Gasly. You know what, we'll bump Pierre Gasly up to amazing because he has had an amazing season. He's just not been on the same level of Pierre Gasly. Pierre Gasly has just been in a different dimension to him. It's just nuts. So, yeah. Nicholas Latifi, we're going to put him in. I didn't really even notice Nicholas Latifi, like, at all this season. I just, like, in qualifying, neither the race did I ever notice Nicholas Latifi, and even the commentators were like, didn't even speak about him or that much, and we just didn't get shown much of him. So for that reason, I'm putting him in Why You Racing in Formula One. Just, he was never there. Like, I never even, when me and my dad watched the Grand Prix, he was like, oh, I didn't even notice there was that guy was driving for Williams. This was 3 races into the calendar, and I just didn't notice him that much. And yeah, I don't think anyone really has. So for that reason, it has to go Why Are You Racing in Formula One. Charles Leclerc, we're gonna put it in. We're gonna remember we're doing this tier list for their performance in 2020. So for that reason, but for obviously Romain Grosjean has the exception because of his crash. So for Charles Leclerc, we're going to put it in legendary for the fact that he is constantly outperforming that Ferrari, dragging it to results it does not deserve, and just making the most of a bad situation. And compared to Sebastian Vettel, Leclerc has tried his absolute best, and I'm sure Seb has, but Leclerc has tried to drag everything out of that car, and it seems to have worked, and he's just done well with it. He's done really well. So anyway, let's move on to Perez. Perez, we're going to put it in a... Obviously, he got the win. He's got 2 podiums. He's just probably had his best season ever. I'm going to put him in... I'm going to put him in amazing. Legendary is has to be a season that will be talked about, or maybe a year or two, or in a couple years' time. And I feel Charles Leclerc, that will be talked about as the guy who could outperform his car because he just raced the hell out of it. And Romain Grosjean will be talked about for years to come because of his crazy accident. And then obviously Lewis Hamilton, we already know that. So for Perez, I'm going to put it in amazing. He's really done well this season. He showed he's in the prime of his career. He's got pace, and I can't wait to see him in that Red Bull. And I think next year he can. I don't think he can match Verstappen, but I think he can get close to it Carlos Sainz. Carlos Sainz, I'm going to put in good. He's kind of just been equal with Lando Norris throughout the whole entire season. And Lando Norris, I think he's done better than him this season, but Carlos Sainz has just proven that he has pace, he has speed, and I know he's a very hard-working person. So I can't wait to see him in a Ferrari. Lance Stroll. Lance Stroll. Where do we put you? I'm going to have to put Lance Stroll in good. Because of that pole position, and if I'm not mistaken, did he get a podium? I think he did. I'm not sure though. But he's been there. He showed he has pace. No, that's not the word. Pace. He showed he has pace, and he's shown that he's not just daddy's boy, and he didn't just get into the sport because of money. He's actually got a bit of talent. So yeah, he's done well this season. Although I do feel like he was a little bit inconsistent and made a few mistakes. So yeah. Now is the time we go through our list. We're not going to speak about every driver, but we just scan over and see who should be moved. So let's see. I'm happy with my legendary. With my amazing, I'm happy with. With my good, I'm happy with. Yeah, that's fine. With my meh, meh. Nah, I'm sorry. I've got to put Albon in bad. I tried to give him the benefit of the doubt, and although he has shown flashes of speed, he just really has not been on level with Max Verstappen, and he hasn't even really been close to him. Like, the closest he got to him was in Abu Dhabi, and he was still 25 seconds off the lead. So, like, it's just, he needs to. And I feel like in Abu Dhabi, he really did make progress with that car, because he was able to hamper the Mercedes progress, and just I feel like he was able to make it work for him. So yeah, he's in bad. I had to change that, and I think the rest I'm happy with. The rest I'm very much happy with. Yeah. So I just wanted to apologize again for my previous tier list. I was doing that based overall on a driver's career, but then I kind of mixed it in with their season this year, so it just was so bad, and I just completely messed up. So I hope this one is an improvement, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.